to deal with the Akali pick on blue side. Faker is a great Akali player to his credit, and the Aatrox has been played so many times by Card in particular, 17 games. I see a split worth of Aatrox.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he does. We'll see if it happens. You mentioned the two A's. They both get banned this time around. That does leave our favorite duo, Corki and Azir, left available. We'll see if the Corki gets first pick. Tom Kench also available if they want to go down that route.
The Kench I'm not as into recently. He's definitely gone down in terms of priority, but we'll be locked here anyway. I guess they're threatening the Tom Kench Varus kind of scenario here from the side of Sandbox, and we've had so many pick comps this week that at least Tom Kench Devour will always find some value. Reviewers tilt when it comes to Azir versus Corki. We haven't had that matchup too many times, but this does appear like it's going to be a Corki lock-in, and the flexes have been minimal to the top lane, unlike how Challengers and Solo Queue had led us to believe.
Yeah. How about they just lock in both of them right here? Flex one of them top side.
80 carry, potentially.
Deny it away from Dove.
Corki can go 80 carry. Happens from time to time as well. Reckless been playing it over in the LEC. It's going to be the Varus takeaway from the Tom Kench. That is the strongest possible Tom Kench lane. Now, you could just go Draven Kench here, which is something they'll, I'm sure, be discussing, because they actually have a Draven player on Sandbox's side.
Instead of that, it's going to be the Karma and everybody's favorite mid laner, the bird himself, the one who wears golden clothes. It's Azir. And, now we're just looking for a support here for the bottom lane for SKT to go alongside the Varus Braum. We saw that before.
And sadly, SKT fans very disappointed that Karma has been stolen away from them. They won't be able to play it this time. Good news, Lulu unlikely to be banned, and a Faker special.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do it. Soraka mid. Let's make Faker be the funneling support mid again. You remember when that was happening last year?
You mean 2 days ago?
Well, I mean the funnel support.
Oh, you mean when he played Taric?
Yeah, when he played Taric. That
man.
made a lot of fans really happy.
Don't you dare ban that Lulu, Sandbox. Leave it open.
That would be the most likely one.
What if it went through and we had Corki top? Embarrassing.
Yeah, there you go.
People would be so mad.
How about you throw Khan on the Lulu? Get someone else on a supporting...
I hear Galio passive was buffed, so he's ready to go back in that.
Oh, great.
Oh, we love to tank aggro ourselves here on the caster desk.
Let's
As the
replay
Xinjiao removed.
2018.
Last time these two teams faced was the only time On Fleek showed us his very dapper Jax jungle, and that is, of course, his most famous pick coming through to the LCK. So, I, for one, would love to see On Fleek join the cavalcade of crazy that began with SKT playing Quinn. And from there, we've had all manner of madness. We've had Azereth. Things have been all over on the Rift. So I would love to see some Jungle Jacks returning. Silas will not. So Silas, Sejuani. Where are we doing in terms of junglers? Because Klitzley Sin is up and usually doesn't need too much introduction.
Probably looking to take that here and then save counter pick for top lane and potential flex with the Corki.
Olaf, Elise, Jax are kind of what I'm thinking about for jungle. Probably not Elise, given they already have a lot of magic damage on their side. See what's happening here, because we think Azir into the mid lane and Karma into the top lane. So jungle AD carry ostensibly is what we're looking for in the draft, but it could be other stuff. How spicy are we getting here, Valdez?
Well, with the hover and lock-in of Kennen, that raises some questions.
Karma with Spell Thieves in the bot lane? Possible.
How about support Kennen?
Top Kench? Blind?
Toppest Kench?
Yes, this is the only way this draft can be rounded out, with a Kajix.
Oh, yeah, of course. What else?
Yeah, all right. Well, there's the draft.
They really pulled out all the stops today against SKT.
What are we doing? We're playing for first. This is some crazy, crazy stuff. This is a hell of a drug. I'm overdosing over here, Valdez. Please, sir, could you give me the IV and explain where all these champions are going?
Look at Khan scratching his head. He's like, so what am I playing against? Exactly. Let's just pick Vladimir. That's good in the late game.
Well, Vladimir is actually super good against all of these champions in the late game, like you mentioned, especially Kha'Zix. He dies accidentally to RE.
Yeah.
So, you would assume Kha'Zix's jungle, and it is, my first thought, of the good old Karma Kench bot. Alright.
I mean, they're not going to die, right, Sandbox?
You know, they are actually known for dying in the 2v2, so it could definitely happen here. What are we doing? In this particular case, Karma 80 carry, good old Reckless has been showing that one off. Karma Kench, will it be Doran's Ring or will it be Spell Thief? Because when we saw Reckless doing it, it was just Ring or Corrupting. It definitely wasn't Spell Thieves too. And the gold generation days are a little bit behind us, so interesting. Zephyr just goes for the handshake, being like, I don't know if I should be handshaking you.
Sandbox coach was holding back a laugh. He's like...
You know why?
Sorry about that.
Because there's a bit of personality between the two. They used to be the drafting coaches together of a Freak of Freaks last year. We gave them so much credit there, went their separate ways. Comet went over to Suning before rejoining Sandbox, and he goes over to his old mate Zephyr and he says, yep, we drafted that.
That actually happened. Zephyr with no reaction, as is mostly the case.
We know exactly what SKT's draft does, and good news, there's a lot of different damage dealers, and it goes into the late game. But there's such a right turn on this Sandbox draft. They whimpered over the line against KT. They were clearly saving things for today.
Absolutely. As, again, Ghost is going to be having some problems here.
We got to pause, guys. Ghost is disconnected from the lobby. We've had this a couple of times this week so far.
Yeah.
Getting into games hasn't been trivial, so I kind of wish we could just throw the champs up again and kind of talk about how it all works. But very, very intriguing because the bot lane here is all about pushing in. So it's, on the one hand, Sandbox has done something that says, we will not just auto-lose to a Varus Braum style lane. We're going to have a lane that always has priority and pushing. I'll see if there's cleanse here from Karma, because kind of cleanse or TP are your options in this lane. Probably not, because Tom Kench is there. What are we yelling or yawning about? We get playoffs, I think is the gist of it.
Yeah, but who is that? Was the question I was wondering.
Sandbox logo, I assume, here. It looks like one of those things you get at a Korean convenience store. As here are some Sandbox fans.
Left one is, what are you doing? And the right one is, wake up.
Whoa, look at that Mata. And another yawning person. It's Faker.
I guess it's Faker, the first one as well. Must be a meme that's going around, because that says the same thing. Let's go playoffs.
Pengu!
Pengu's back!
But not at the merch store.
Not at the merch store. No.
I'm getting angry about us because they're leaving so much money on the table. Where is the plushy Pengu?
You make the money from selling it in-game.
And then you give the money directly to Papa Smithy. So you got to make the money to pay Papa.
And
so I'm losing money.
They should be building a brand based on those cute little things.
Yeah.
The little Pengus, and then just hand over the money to Papa. What's going on?
I'm willing to take 1%.
1%? That's probably like
many millions of dollars.
Speaking of which, we got a game. Game number 1 starts now. The fans are out in mass tonight.
Oh yeah, this one is about as big as could be.
It's about as sold out as it gets.
Are we really definitely sure that esports is not scripted? Because how does every LCK summer ending, which is never like ultra stacked 4 games, somehow always like, yeah, just all three playoffs teams in top three are playing back to back to back also as all the other stuff happening. Like, it's so scripted. And how hard is it to script a double round robin best of three league with 90 best of threes? How could they do it?
They're so talented.
And everyone is like really mad at Riot for legitimate reasons about different things, depending on where you sit. And yet, they're also able to do this, Valdez.
Scripting is perfect, basically. As apparently Ghosts played Karma before.
Yes, one other game.
I don't remember.
I don't think it was Karma Catch. I don't remember that. But it is a lane that does something, which is not lose to Varus X strong lanes, right? And this week we've had a lot of support counter pick. We've had a lot of Varus first pick from teams like Jin Air. This is a different look as Kennen is going on hit. We get that confirmation. So Karma to try to get priority bot. On hit Kennen, priority top. Azir versus Corki. I think this is early priority Azir. And potentially some shields and disengage for Kha'Zix. So I guess a sandbox victory looks like on-fleek dumpstering play with hard aggression. But it's a swinging jungle matchup. Yes, you get in there and you EQ, but if you don't get what you want with the EQ, usually the receipt from Lee Sin involves your demise.
It's a lot of damage real fast in one of these people's faces. As for now, they're just going for full clears, the both of them. Not going to get too aggressive with the counter jungling just yet. And the bottom and mid lanes are not really lanes that will hold too much action.
Get confirmation that it is Reckless Saldarin's ring start here, so no gold pretend. If you go for the gold pretend, yes, Karma has more time to just auto attack down the enemies, but it's Tahm Kench CSing against a Braum, so you can get knocked into the concussive blows and stunned. You do have less lane presence than if you're just building to do a bit of everything. So that's the notable thing here, is that they are looking to control Teddy and effort as much as possible. Bring around the Rosie. Not sure what it's a pocket full of Vladimir at this point, as they don't find their man, and Clit is now going to be confused as the Scuttle does spawn.
And finally, he spots him here. Gonna get a resonating strike onto that Scuttle Crab, but it looks like that will be on Fleeks. Clit not going to fight over that one, just going to go Krugs. Get that camp to go ahead and respawn.
So we can all push, and Kha'Zix potentially get in there and mess people up. However, it is the reverse of SKT's drafts earlier this week, which were, if you do your things, damn, are they powerful, else other team largely is very likely to win. Same story here. SKT is now on the other end, and they're usually on the end they were on in much of their win streak, where it was, look at our Corki Kaiser comp, we're going to win eventually. With Vladimir against Kha'Zix, I know that's not a lane matchup, but it's one of those. Vladimir very often accidentally kills Kha'Zix in a 5v5 because he dives other people and RE basically just pops Kha'Zix. So there is definitely a late game win condition here for SKT. So how much can Sandbox do with largely carte blanche to do whatever they want in the early game?
They got to take control. They got to be proactive. They have to be the ones on the front foot, trying to make plays. And you have to wonder where exactly are the lanes where you are going to make those plays. You have priority in all the lanes, so maybe you can get a bunch of objectives.
Double Dorans and a dagger versus a cull. Like, SKT is basically saying, they basically got their wrists up, being like, you got me in the early game. They're basically accepting it. But can Sandbox actually gleefully accept what that presents? Is an evolving story that we're going to have to inspect. So this is the sort of game where gold leads for Sandbox are going to need to be sizable, and action will need to be swift, around kind of 15 to 25 minutes. So even if it's 5,000 gold lead at 22 minutes, you're still squirming. More if you're the side of Sandbox than if you're SKT.
We always got one guy who's hunkering down for the winter and another side who's usually squirmy. As the game does come along, had that a bit in the last series. Lots of long games in the last series, and with all the scaling we have in this game, could absolutely have that happen again, because we always talk about Vladimir, Corky, and Varus. Of course, they're going to scale pretty incredibly. But on the other side, we've got that Azir, who always is kind of alone, scaling, doing his thing, especially when they don't have a true AD carry.
Not a lot of lanes for Kha'Zix to gank either. That's why the Kha'Zix is so weird, is you're like, yeah, I can see it working with a warrior enchant at the first fight with movement speed, but other than Summit with ult, like, it's very, very difficult for Kha'Zix. He really loves other people to have crowd control to do his thing. Small buff on this patch, 10 damage. On his Q, that of course is amplified if you're isolated. It's more than 10 in a lot of cases. But not really enough to lead to 3 Kha'Zix games in the past 4 hours. Here is on Flake.
And Clid, both of them in the top side. And again, just going ahead and farming it out. We talked about what exactly can Kha'Zix do early. Farm is the name of the game here at the LCK.
He's not that good at farming, especially the AoE camps, right?
That's pretty much all he can.
He's good at taking drugs.
That is true.
Q Evolve was what we saw yesterday in the LCK. Tarzan, in case you guys were wondering, was the team that was playing that. Kha'Zix makes you wonder, was he playing it in scrims against Sandbox? We're not to know, but is the chance that there was some information sharing going on there between the two?
Potentially.
Oh, nice little bending of the Q there, but not the most consequential. Well, Clid's looking for a famous gank timing.
Oh, here we go again. The kick on in. We've all seen this one before, trying to trade onto Khan, but it will not happen. And the kill, even going to go on the most important guy. Vladimir picks that one up early.
Summit didn't notice it until it was too late. The angle of the screen pointed away. That means that the aggressor of the lane falls behind the scaler of the lane. That is the start of a bad news story for Sandbox Gaming.
It's definitely a fantastic timing to get on in there with the gank as well. Clid makes it happen again. It's pretty incredible what he can do on this Lee Sin. No hesitation either, went for the flash real quick to make sure. Summit, I feel like the second he saw Lee Sin, he's like, well, I'm not going to escape. So
but I don't think he saw Lee Sin now, because there would have been a flash timing, flash over kick, right? There's like a... I don't even know how you estimate how much time you have between when someone presses DR or FR, depending on where their flash is, and it connecting with you. I would guess like 0.4 seconds or something. It didn't seem like he was ready for it. So, in that case, once it started, the death was assured, so smart not to flash there from Summit. Doesn't lose them blue buff control, so it's not the worst case ever, but we've already gone into painstaking lengths talking about where this game is going. Right now, it's going towards an Cloud Drake for us.
That'll be a nice little Drake to pick up early. Not the best they could have gotten. Of course, with the Infernals, would have been perfect for their scaling comp, but either way, it'll make Clid even faster as Tom Kent is TPing in here.
Well, he's TPing. So
he was halfway down the lane.
Well, if that's the case, then he was off. He was askew. Valdez. To be honest, though, SKT, with the comp they had, wanted it to be a low-value Drake because they didn't think they would be in position to actually fight for Infernals early. So, yeah, as it goes, if you're being completely result-oriented, you're like, wow, couldn't have been Infernal this time, but I think when it first spawned, they're like, oh, we can farm it.
Second Cloud is going to be the next one. It's SKT with the first blood. A tiny lead when it comes to CS. I guess that's mostly in the bottom side, but Azir feeling pretty good about the mid lane.
We actually have something that Summit's feeling a little bit good about, and that's that this is a wit's end game for Summit. When we've seen this matchup recently, it's been against a physical damage soul laner and a magic damage laner. But this time, Corky, Vladimir, that's a lot of magic damage. Varus, a bit of magic damage usually too. And this is on-hit Varus, by the way, not lethality, is top lane.
Trying to trade it back. Khan does have flash, but he gets demolished immediately in the span of again, about 0.4 seconds that time around. Kazakh's able to get in there real quick and pick up the kill.
So that looks very 20 IQ from Khan, but if you watch the replay, maybe I'll be able to draw some sense out of why exactly that happened. My impression is that Khan desperately wanted to push in and back, and thus he used his Hemo play to try to push Kennen away. OnFleek had already had it communicated from Summit that that was exactly what Khan was likely to do, and he was there for the game. That is my impression of what happened. But we'll wait to see if the replay lines up with all that.
That is the way it looked in the lane. You know, he was trying to spam E just to get it down, but all of that just telegraphing of the way that you're playing means that you can be taken advantage of. And that does mean that it's not only the kill, but the early Rift Herald that gets taken here by Sandbox. So they wanted to get things started early. This is a good way to get them started.
So much of our top lane in summer, I feel like, has been about freezes. Not quite the freezes that LS talking about in his video, but just trying to hold that minion wave outside a turret when you have damage dealer versus damage dealer in a long lane, which is something that was only really relevant in previous splits when it came to things like Aurelion and things like that. So I think the teams have just gotten better at trying to hold on to lane positionings and try to attack them, and it's very often connected to jungle timings. So nicely done in that area. Summit is going that Wit's End first, so it is going to be the choice there. We'll get some on-hit lifesteal from this, but not, of course, the same value as a melee person.
Yes, it's perfect for this game, as you did mention. So we found something for the junglers to do early. Sandbox still not ahead in gold, the way it does turn out. We'll see where he does want to use this Rift Herald, perhaps towards the mid lane. Already a play going down there to Dove. As OK Joker going to get kicked in the wall into that Chains of Corruption, but he's going to be stunned down as well. He's using literally everything just to try to survive. And now we have the perfectly timed ultimate from Braum. But too much damage on Navarez means that actually it will be a trade for one, but now the mid laner's coming on in. Dove gonna get kicked on, and in goes Clint, looking for that play, but he's gonna have to back away. Khan with the empowered Q. Does he have the damage? The big one for Faker from downtown is gonna pick up that last kill to end the fight.
So much aggro being exerted in the bot lane. Ends up still being fine from an SKT perspective. They got the re-engage TP back to lane from Teddy. We've had so many teleports already in this game. Plates are going down, and if you're going to go Karma bot lane and lose plates, doesn't necessarily inspire much confidence. We were talking about that positioning and the 2v2 there. Well, I would say they're definitely losing, Valdez.
They are losing. It is happening. The kill did go Ghost's way, but at the end of the day, SKT feeling pretty good about this.
And this was similar to what happened topside in that it was a ward timing for Joker, and already lying in wait was the Lee Sin. Lots of different teleports coming in. Remember, it's on-hit Kennen, but the stun into being able to hit closest target is the reason that Teddy went into the Death Chamber. He keeps up his flash. Could be important for the future. From there, it's on long-range damage. Faker's the one to pick up the kill secure.
Boom. That's the big one from downtown. Faker does pick it up. We don't get a replay of the Rift Herald, which seemed to have done an insane amount of damage in the mid lane. But it didn't look like anyone picked up too many plates. As perhaps that even happened after the fight, you'd have to imagine. So no plates going down any extra to the side of Sandbox. So the Rift Herald play is going to give the 100 gold, I guess, and a bit of damage done.
Wit's End had to be a further back timing after the first reset. Only now is Wit's End done. We can see if that actually has the sort of impact it does on paper in the 1v1. This is not a 1v1. SKT runs straight at the Cloud Drake, and it will be an easy stack for them.
Third Cloud Drake coming up next. Stacking up the wind. here in this game.
And they don't have to stack up the wins very far for SKT fans to be happy. 2 wins out of 3, 1 best-of-3 victory, and SKT are ironclad for playoffs, whatever results come from.
It's got to win this one. Things starting off pretty well. Not getting Faker back onto the Karma anymore. I'm sure makes people happy already. This might not make Summit too happy, but the kick goes awry. Do they have enough damage anyway, as Summit does not have his flash? And even again, Connor's going to pick up that kill, even though it looked like Clid was going for the kill secure there right at the end.
Clid Lee Sin popping off. Clid's in so much better form than he was when he was last playing the Lee Sin regularly during their losing streak. He is very, very strong on the champion. Already been there for all of SK Telecom T1's kills. Double pick up a minion wave. But given what we've outlined with the fact that SKT has outscaled, the fact that they have been consistently ahead in gold and being the team that is stacking the Drakes, they are more ahead than the 1,500 gold suggests.
They're in a fantastic spot here, right over the 15-minute mark. Whereas I feel like perhaps I cursed Summit a little bit. He's 0-3 after I called him top laner in the LCK.
Point to a top 3 top laner that hasn't had a bad performance. So, at the end of the day, this cannon is on the extinction list. It feels like 0, 3, and 2 behind in terms of farm compared to the clock. Therefore, may never be Vladimir busting in the side lane. Because right now, second item, very, very far away.
Yeah, he's just going to try to hold on down there up against Khan and hope not to get ganked again by Clid, but perhaps I spoke too soon, as here we go again. He's going to miss that Q, though, and stun comes down onto Khan, which means that it's going to be a 2-for-1 here. Perhaps, as Summit is thinking about getting on in their effort, is going to come down and try to help out. Interesting unbreakable angle there, but trying to come in here and snipe, and he will. Teddy going to pick up that one from downtown as well. Meanwhile, on the top lane, the aggression comes in, and On Fleek will be able to pick up a kill of his own.
They definitely need to spare the blush to their top laner. There's not much more he could have done than a 1v2 that became a 1v3, 1v4. So, end of the day, buys a lot of time. Get some push in the mid lane. Try and stack up those objectives where all those people who wanted to kill the damn cannon are not.
That was a pretty crazy just line of events that did happen right in a row. I can't wait to see the replay there, as Summit is just having a not fun time, but he's the last one getting the laugh, I suppose, after all that.
He gets a cannon laugh too, and those are really annoying. Can you do a cannon laugh? Give me a cannon laugh. See? We can do it together. But that's what he was doing when everyone dived him, and you know the reason the kill couldn't come in? The Emo Plague wasn't there to begin the fight. Would have really helped with even Lee Sin damage. Level 11, so the extra bolts are there to get all the stuns nice and early. It starts off, bone plating begins, and they got him low. They just didn't have that lethal tick.
He didn't pull. He was stunned. He didn't do it on time. You have to pull early there just to try to avoid it. And then everybody comes down to the bottom lane, and thankfully the snipe comes in. Otherwise, Summit probably would have lived at the end of 5 people trying to gank you, essentially. 4 people, I guess, as Faker died up in the top lane.
But if Cannon never can do anything against Vladimir, and 5v5 is tricky for Sandbox, can they find the fight they need? Now, what we will say is, it's going to be a farmed Karma in the mid-game. And there will still be times where you might think that the Sandbox comp doesn't have enough items to win 5v5s, where shields and mobility and Kha'Zix assassinating people might surprise you. So we're definitely not in already outscaled lull stage just yet for SKT to proclaim, but there really isn't any more trade downs available for Sandbox. They've had some coupons to stay in this game. They got 50% off some moments. Essentially could have just ended the game, but they're out of coupons.
Well, I suppose they can start cutting coupons for game number 2, because we're in a bit of a bind here. If you are a Sandbox, SKT coming down here, they'd like a third Cloud Drake. So what LS likes to call the crown break. When you get 3 of them, your whole team gets really fast.
Oh, they got 3.
3 of them come down. Next one is Infernal. Not half bad. Here on the side of SKT. Trying to immediately push down the mid lane and take advantage of this is Sandbox. Might be able to get a decent amount of damage here.
They're not really committing to it, though. You would think that they would go as a 5-man because they had a minion wave proxied between a sun turret and the enemy team out of position, but they don't feel like that's their moment. You do have to wonder, what is their moment with this comp? They've got to show us something special.
It's definitely about... Well, Faker's looking for a play here, potentially. Okay. Dove wants it right now. He's getting on in there. He's got a bunch of friends coming with him as well. Faker in so much trouble and will be clawed down by that evil Kha'Zix once again.
Wonder how many Kha'Zixes Faker has faced since Umti's famous 94-minute pick on his Kassadin. That ended that series. It ended my suffering in that one. Caught out in transition here, and this time, through the Sun Turret's duration, they do get an inner turret. And every time an inner turret is down at 21 minutes, you always start thinking about Baron.
Certainly got it on the mind, but a lot of that damage is going to come from the Azir, and actually even the Kha'Zix here with the Q Evolve can do a cheeky amount of damage to that singular objective.
Can we say cheeky a bit more Australian? Choiky.
Choiky.
Yeah. It's like crikey.
I've been practicing.
You haven't been VOD watching, have you?
You just
Google Aussieisms and you're like, yeah. You're my favorite honorary Aussie.
Yeah. I guess it's between me and LS. So.
Yeah.
Kind of an easy
You're winning
win
easily.
for me. Yeah.
GG, baby. I'm calling it.
Yeah. GG. Sorry, LS.
Hope he's feeling better for tomorrow.
Yeah. What did you say it was? Lamentingly sick?
I said lamentably sick.
Lamentably.
Yeah, the chat is lamenting the fact that he's sick. Lamenting means to be kind of sad and wistful about. As Dove wasn't just going in feeling a solo kill that wasn't coming. He knew his boy on. He was on the lane.
It's getting in there. Even Tom Kench was coming in for the rotation as well. So, the second that big package is used from Faker, you're just like, well, maybe we can get this guy.
Come on, you're the big package expert. That didn't seem like the biggest of packages.
I mean, it's titled The Big Package. He just didn't swing it around as well as he should have.
No, it's titled The Package. We've talked about this before.
Oh, really?
It can be a package of many different descriptions. Could be a late package, could be an early package.
Definitely early and kind of small, is what I'd say.
No one wants that.
Tried his best. No, nobody really wants that one. So,
are you waiting on any packages right now?
No, I actually did just get my most recent package of Pop-Tarts and popcorn.
What adjectives would best describe this new package of yours?
Which I use to make.
That sounds like a delicious package.
Mexican food with. It's true. I make tacos and stuff like that.
Sounds good to me.
Thai rice, because the Korean rice is much more sticky. Yeah, it's actually. I don't know why you're giving me this face, Papa, but Japanese is more sticky than Korean, which is more sticky than like Thai rice.
What are we talking about right now?
We're talking about rice.
Okay, just making sure.
You asked me about my package, so I wanted to tell you that.
I'm still waiting on my package from North America. It's a bit of an NA package.
Yeah? Which one is that?
It's North America.
Just an NA one?
Yeah.
Okay. No more coconut water
for
you? Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan of coconut water, but I've been coconut water sober in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, that's good. You don't want to, get too on that one. You don't want to get hooked on coconut water. As Faker...
SKT's in this weird spot where they're the scaling comp, and they know they're going to outscale, and they don't see the enemy team doing anything, and it's suspicious of how it is. It's like, wait, don't you know you're supposed to be doing things? And so you're really afraid of, like, the lull state breaker moments. Like, oh, we were just farming, and then Baron disappeared. You're like, whoa. So this is, like, one of those moments where SKT's trying to check themselves, and they're pretty sure someone's going to wreck themselves, but it's unclear, given just how quiet things are. So maybe we should whisper until some action.
It kind of is like it's quiet.
There we go.
Kind of get a low volume cast.
We can get a little bit of that here. Get people to jack it up, whether they're on microphone or normally.
Guys, casters are too low.
Fuck through the mid lane. Let's listen to the sounds of the riff. Okay.
Come on,
It was kind of. It's a sound. It's a weird sound when it's just Azir super high attack speed hitting the minions.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite cha-ching, but it was of the cha-ching family.
It's kind of what Azir is all about. The bling-bling. The money, the cash money. He's, trying to stack it up to the late game. But it's also just the braum every time he jumps or does anything.
Yeah. He's old. Come on, I understand. I am also an old man like braum. So I know how it is. It gets tricky.
You don't really make those sounds, though, unless something really great happens in a game of League of Legends.
That's not true. I have my rituals. You'll know this. You sit next to me.
Yeah.
Every time I get into a chair, I usually let out some sort of onomatopoeia or squeal or something.
Yeah,
I'm always
true.
like, oh,
all right. One of those.
Yeah, because it's fun to sit down. There's a bit of gravity going on. The cushion is usually nice.
Adds a little spice to your life.
Yeah.
You don't have enough with, you don't get the cast with a lot of spice. So.
No, I don't.
Only me and Max get that spice.
Fingers crossed, LCK final. We did it in spring. Fingers crossed, LCK final. Maybe LS and I can combine powers. No official announcement yet. I'm hoping.
It's a possibility. As SKT run really fast, but they don't do many things
hits
with
things
games
pretty
really
fast.
fast.
Mr. Kenny.
And, Colin, he's got a lot of speed here.
Uh-oh.
And he's taking an insane amount of damage. Oh, boy. Even had Joker and On Fleet coming down here to help out, but I don't even think he needed their help.
This is some good rotatos. Karma can always do that. So the 5v5 dream might be dead, but the cunning